Medical malpractice is something that I spend a lot of my time working on. I've represented wrongful death, medical malpractice cases. I've represented cases where cancer has been misdiagnosed and developed into stage 4, stage 5 in case cancer. I've represented stroke cases where a hospital has failed to diagnose a stroke, and so these are difficult cases. They're expensive cases. If you're wondering how it's paid for, my firm will pay for the cost of bringing in expert witnesses. You don't pay anything up front for this, but there's damages caps in Mississippi, which means that the legislature has said you can only get so much money for pain and suffering in these kind of cases, and if you're filing a case against a state hospital or a state or city run hospital, then it's just capped at $500,000 period. You can't get any more than that. So in these medical malpractice cases, we have to prove that a physician or a hospital or a medical professional has deviated below the standard of care, which is a fancy way of saying that there is a standard of care in these cases and they violated it, which means typically we have to bring in expert witnesses to say what the standard of care is, and then at that point we can establish that. Sometimes the medical records themselves will admit that there's been a surgical complication and things went wrong. But not every time not every time a doctor lacerates an internal organ or cuts something, does that mean that there was malpractice. There's what's called a known risk and a known complication, and there's certain types of procedures, specifically hysterectomies, often result in a laceration of internal organs. As long as the physician quickly diagnoses that problem, and takes the steps to correct or resolve the problem, it's probably not a malpractice case. Things that we look for are clear violations of the standard of care that result in injuries.